Hi everyone and welcome back. Eric Bonnet here, author of techformusiced.com blog and Level 2 Certified Google Educator. Today I want to show you how to create a digital worksheet using two different Google tools. So I'm going to show you two easy ways to create digital worksheets. Both of them have benefits and some drawbacks to them. First, I want to talk a little bit about Google Slides. Now, what I like about Google Slides is that it is obviously a built-in Google tool and it is part of the G Suite for education. It's also free to use and share in Google Classroom. One drawback that I found with Google Slides and creating a digital worksheet is that you do need to use a JPEG or a picture file to create the worksheets because you're going to be using that JPEG or picture file to set it as a background so students can't edit it. That's really the one drawback, but once you learn how to make the worksheets, it's really quite simple and very easy and straightforward. The second tool I'm going to show you how to use is Kami, which is a Google Chrome extension. What I do like about Kami is that you can create a worksheet directly from a PDF. So if you find a great PDF online from, say, Teachers Pay Teachers or a great website, there is an option if you install the Google Chrome extension Kami to create a PDF directly from there, which is really great. One of the drawbacks I found with Kami is that students must also have the Kami extension installed for them to be able to edit the actual worksheet you're assigning them in Google Classroom. So that's one drawback. The second I found is that there is a paid subscription for Kami. So you can pay $99 as an individual for a year's subscription, or your school can look into possibly buying an education subscription. But there are some certain features on Kami, as you'll see in a few minutes, that are only used with the paid subscription. And one of those features is to directly integrate with Google Classroom. So instead of going to Drive and then uploading it from Drive into Google Classroom, if you have the Kami extension and the education subscription, then you can directly assign it from Kami into Google Classroom, which is a really nice and unique feature. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually start off and teach you how to create a digital worksheet using Google Slides. So here we have a new blank Google Slides presentation. To create this, I simply went to my Google Drive, clicked New, and it selected Slides, and this came up here. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to resize the slide to be the same size as the worksheet. So how you do that is you go over to File, click on File, and go all the way down to Page Setup and click on Page Setup. So right now here you can see it's in widescreen. So if you click this, and you're going to go to Custom. So as we all know, a standard piece of paper is 8.5 by 11 inches, and simply click Apply. So now you can see that the Google slide has turned into a standard 8.5 by 11 piece of paper or worksheet. The next thing you want to do is to make sure you have a JPEG or picture file of the actual worksheet you want to turn into a digital worksheet. That is one thing in Google Slides that you need to have because we're going to be setting it as the background so the students cannot edit or change it. And we're simply going to be adding things on top of it to create that digital worksheet for the students. There are different ways of creating a JPEG of the worksheet. You could use your phone and take a picture of it, or use the notes feature if you have an iPhone to do a scan of it and save it into your Google Drive if you have the Google Drive app on your phone. Or you can simply go to Teachers Pay Teachers and find a great free worksheet, or there's lots of other free websites out there that offer free worksheets. The only thing is most of these worksheets, when you download them, are in a PDF format. So I'm going to show you what to do to create them into a JPEG format. So here we are at one of my favorite websites I use with my students. It's called 5-Minute Mozart Music Theory Made Easy. It has lots of really great free practice sheets from everything from note reading to rhythmic dictation, major scales, and key signatures. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to click on Note Identification for Treble Clef, and it's actually going to open up the worksheet in a new tab. So if I wanted to download this worksheet, I could click that button, but as you can see, it's actually a PDF document, which is not what I want. So I'm going to go ahead and click the cancel button. Also, you can see that I can't see the entire worksheet. So what I want to do is I actually want to go to the bottom right-hand corner of my screen and zoom out so I can see the entire worksheet, so I can take a screenshot of this worksheet. On a Mac, it's really easy to take a screenshot. Simply you want to click Shift, Command, and 4, and it's going to create these little crosshairs, as you can see. And you're simply going to highlight the entire worksheet, and it actually will create a screenshot and save it directly onto your desktop, which is really great. So this only works for Mac. If you're using a Windows or a PC computer, then you need to use your snipping tool, and then you can do the same exact thing and take a screenshot. I also recommend naming the worksheet very specifically on your desktop, so that way you can find it easier when you go back and look for the worksheet. So making sure that you have the title 5-Minute Mozart, note identification, and for treble clef. Once you've taken a screenshot and created a JPEG file or a picture file of that worksheet you want to turn into a digital worksheet, I have mine all saved on my desktop, and I renamed them specifically so I know exactly what the worksheet is going to be. So now we're back in Google Slides, and now I'm going to show you how to take that JPEG file from your desktop and turn it into a digital worksheet. So I'm actually going to get rid of these text boxes right here. So click on delete. So what we're going to do next is we're actually going to go and click on the background button. We're going to change the background. We're going to go to image and choose image. Click on choose image. And then you can either drag and drop your file, your JPEG right there, or you can click browse. I'm going to choose to click browse. And it's going to bring me to a window where it shows all the different files on my desktop. So I'm just going to look for the one I found. Oh, there it is. It says TST, so treble clef note reading worksheet. I'm going to click on that and simply click open. It's just going to take a second to load. There we go. And then all I need to do is click done. And the worksheet will load right onto the background of that slide. Now the best part is now you cannot edit that worksheet at all. It is simply fixed to the background where students are not allowed to edit or change it at all. The only thing we can do is add things on top of it now. So now all we need to do is simply add text boxes on top of this background so that students can work on it. So I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit so I can see it a little bit better. So 100%, so there we go. So I'm going to click the little text box here, and I'm going to take, and I'm not going to create individual text boxes for every little dash, but I'm going to create one for the whole line. So I'm going to simply create my text box. And I'm probably going to do the first one or two just to give them an example to show them how it's going to work so they can spacebar over. And there we go. And then I'm simply going to click on the box, copy, and then paste. And I have a second box. Now all I need to do is simply click it, drag it down here, and drop it. And just adjust it a little bit to make sure that the notes are on those lines and the letters line up. So there we go. And so all the students need to do now is when you share a copy with them, they simply open this, double click, and they just need, for my students, for the note reading worksheets, they simply need to tab over, which is really, really easy. So I'm going to do this again. I'm going to make a new slide, a new blank slide, okay? And I'm actually going to do a different worksheet. So I'm going to get rid of these text boxes. I'm going to go to background again, choose image. I'm going to browse, and I actually have a 13 colonies digital worksheet downloaded as an example for a social studies teacher friend of mine. It's going to take a minute to upload. I'm going to simply click done, and here is that worksheet right there. Again, cannot edit it, cannot change it. It's set into the background. So the student, when the students get a copy, they can't change anything about this. They can't change the background. And so I'm simply going to click on the text box again and add some text boxes in. And so for an example, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, and I'm simply going to put type, here, so that the students know they need to type there. And again, down here, I'm not going to create, these are a lot of boxes, so I'm not going to create individual boxes. I'm actually going to create one for the whole row, and the students can simply tab over. So there we go, type here, and just spacebar over, type here, spacebar over, type here. And then all you need to do is simply share this with the students in Google Classroom and allow each student, make a copy for every student, and then the students will open this up and simply be able to type in, and away they go. Here is your digital worksheet right here. So this will work with any worksheet, but the key to doing it is making sure you set your JPEG, your picture of your worksheet, as a background. So I just wanted to share with you one more quick tip about creating digital worksheets that I think you might find helpful. So let me zoom out real quick. So I'm actually going to create a new slide. So I right-clicked and click New Slide. So it's a new blank slide. And sometimes you might want to add directions to that page that you don't want the students to change. So let me type some directions. Here are the directions, etc. Please follow these. There we go, these. And so these directions you want to remain on the background, but you don't want the students to be able to change them or move them or edit them. So as you can see right now, if we make a copy, students can move them around and change them. So what actually we're going to do is create a screenshot of this page just like we did previously with our other worksheets. So let me actually zoom out just a little bit so I can see the full worksheet fit. There we go. And I'm going to screenshot just like I did before. I'm going to click Shift Command 4 on a Mac, and it's going to create my crosshairs, and I'm going to highlight the entire sheet. And it's going to create that automatic screenshot on save to my desktop, which is really great and helpful. So now I'm going to actually go back and delete these directions right off the page. I'm going to click again background, choose image, browse, and then I'm going to find that screenshot. Oh, there it is, and click open. So it's going to upload, and then I'm going to simply click done. And as you can see now, the directions are on the part of that background, and you cannot move them, edit them, or change them. They're completely there and unmovable. So this is great because the students will get a copy of it and they won't be able to change or adjust these directions at all. Another thing you might want to consider doing is actually typing in your questions ahead of time. If you have 2, 3, or 4 questions, and setting them up and screenshotting them with the directions, and then simply going back and adding text boxes under the questions so that students can answer them, but they can't delete or change any of those questions. So I hope that's a helpful tip. So now I'm going to show you the second way of creating a digital worksheet with a Google tool. So I'm going to show you how to create a worksheet using the Google Chrome app extension Cami. So here I am again on my favorite 5-minute Mozart music theory made easy worksheet. So I'm going to click on note identification treble clef, and it's going to open up in a new window for me. So what you'll notice, and you might have noticed last time, is this K over here in the top right corner. So it says open with Cami. That's because I have the Cami Google Chrome extension installed on my computer. So that K will appear every time you open a JPEG or a PDF document that you want to be able to edit with Cami. So I'm simply going to click on open with Cami. So here it is, it's opened up my 5-minute Mozart worksheet in Cami. So you can do a lot of the same things that we did in Google Slides. So we can add text boxes, and there's different features in here. But one thing to note again is that if you want your students to be able to use and edit this worksheet, they also need to have the Cami extension as well. As I said earlier, there is different paid features for Cami. Cami is a free extension, but there are certain paid features like pushing it out into Google Classroom. So I'm going to actually add a text box right on top of this worksheet. So as simple as clicking T for text box, click, and then I'll drag, and there it is. I'll resize the text box. I'm just going to move it just a bit, and now I'm going to type in a few letters to get my students started. So F, C, and G. So there we go. And all going to need to do is actually simply spacebar over and add a new letter in. So now what I want to do is actually add a second text box on the second row. So I'm actually going to do the same exact thing. I'm going to click the T, click again, and then resize the text box, and then start just adjust just a bit. There we go. And then start typing in the letters again for them just to kind of get them started. And I'm going to create that text box for each level so they can know where to type it. You can see this little notification over here popped up, and that says save to drive or dismiss. So I'm going to click save to drive so that this worksheet will actually save into my drive, and then I can share it with my students. So there it is and uploaded. So now all I need to do is actually go back and share this with Google Classroom with my students. I can make a copy for them. But again, they need that Kami extension to do it. So this is the end of our video and our second way of creating a digital worksheet. I hope that this video was really helpful for you and gave you some tips and tricks about creating digital worksheets. Feel free to check out my blog, techformusiced.com, or you can even email me with questions, techformusiced@gmail.com, or check out my YouTube channel as well. And if you want to have any questions, reach out to me or let me know. I'd be happy to answer them, and I hope this helped. See you next time.